Hello and welcome to makeup day for number. Hello and welcome to day 30 makeup day of my challenge to post a video for 7 weeks. Oh my gosh. Hello and welcome to day 30 of my 7-week challenge to post video every day. Similar to the last few, these are me trying to make up for days that I had missed, so technically it is not day 30, but this is the video in lieu of day 30. So I did make it to Stanley Park. I'm not going to be able to stay here very long because I have to get going soon, but I made it long enough to see a statue who claiming that the park is open to everyone. I am assuming was Stanley in the statue. I don't know if you can see, can't see that well. Over there is some gardens. I walked through the rose garden and another garden that's in between the rose garden and here. And then I just found a quiet little bench where I could make a video. I don't think the wind is too bad this time, thankfully. I will say my walk from the port, my throat is a lot more sore, very scratchy. I was thinking it kind of feels like a cat got into my throat and was scratching at the sides, but you can't tell because when I get sick, my voice doesn't go until I'm feeling better. So that's why I sound great, but don't feel great. In a few days, when I feel better, I sound like I'm sick, you'll know why. Today, I wanted to talk about failure. Failure is not a fun thing to discuss. I'm gonna see when I get a gust of wind, I'm gonna try to shelter it. I don't know if it's going to do anything, but this is me trying to shelter the wind that is happening right now. Okay, failure. The reason I want to talk about failure is because, let me maybe just try switching. Okay, in Facebook, you know how you get the daily, on this day, the reminders of things that you'd posted in years past. For mine yesterday, I got the post that I made when I ran my first 10K. And this was just one that I had organized and mapped out for myself in my neighborhood. And that was my goal for that summer. And it was it was kind of like technically step 2 of a 4-step goal to running the full marathon. My first one I did was run a 5K. That was pretty much on my own. I did do the Color Me Rad, but I walked half of that. But I had already done an actual non-walking one on my own. Anyway, then the 10K, and then half marathon and full marathon. So I did the 10K. Last year I did the half marathon on... there's people coming from both sides. I did that, and I ended up injuring my knee, but I still did it because I am stubborn, so it took me almost 4 hours. But I started it, and I finished because that's how I try to live my life. And so this year, it was kind of coming to the end of reaching that goal. It was when I was supposed to finish it, because in the post, and I will share it again today, that I posted 2 years ago, I even said in that it was the beginning of my goal towards running the marathon. And I set a specific timeline for myself. My timeline was June 2017, I was going to do the full marathon. Well, I've already given the spoiler that this video was about failure. So I did not complete the marathon. I did participate in the marathon. I registered for the marathon. I showed up the morning of the marathon. I only made it to mile 11. And I haven't told many people. I didn't really tell people I was doing it, aside from when I had announced it 2 years ago. Technically I told people, but people don't remember things 2 years later usually. So yeah, I was not able to complete it, and it was really difficult for me to accept. It was quite a challenge and something that I really struggled with. There's a lot of reasons why maybe it didn't work. I know for sure that the more weight I lose, the easier it is on my body to work out. So number one, I was about 225 when I tried to do the marathon. So that's still more than I would like to be, and probably should be, for attempting to do that amount of distance. But I was still determined to do it. I was trying to do it and planning to do it, but I ended up not. So in the training, because I had injured my knee last year, I didn't run from the half marathon last year until the beginning of May this year. And in between, I spent the first 5 months after the knee injury just doing yoga and walking. But I knew I needed something more strengthening and more cardio, so that's when I started the spin classes, and that was marathon training for me. Just while I couldn't run, that was part of my training. And then I did that until the end of April, and then the plan was to do the next, I think it ended up being 7 weeks of running and preparing for the marathon. Now, just saying that out loud, that's pretty ridiculous, right? Like, don't run for a year and then run and train for a marathon in 7 weeks. It's pretty ridiculous, but that was my plan. So that's what I was determined to do. And again, my schedule was not great. I missed a lot of the runs that I was planning to do, and so I was behind my schedule, but I still kept trying and kept keeping on, determined to do it. And so my goal was to work up to essentially the distance of a full marathon, and I didn't get that far. I'm trying to think what my final training run was. I have it in my app. I can't remember. If I remember, I'll write it in the description below. It might have been 32 kilometers, maybe. That could be totally wrong. No, I think it was more than that. But it took me 7 hours to do that, because I made the mistake of sitting down, taking a break at McDonald's to get some water, and I sat down, I went to the washroom, and from then on, I just was kind of done. I sat down several more times on that run, and it was just, my body was hurting so much, and I really started to question, like, why am I doing this? Why did I make this commitment? Like, what is the purpose? Because when I started running, I started a Couch to 5K app in 2014, and I loved it. I didn't think I would, but I really enjoyed it. And when I was running, I was able to get into this like really great mental space, and I enjoyed it. But this year, when it was training for the run and I was running that amount of distance, there was nothing about it that I was enjoying. I was in pain. My feet were covered in blisters. My ribs and back I had, like, I guess, lacerations from my bra rubbing, like from chafing. And that was even with using the Body Glide stuff that helps reduce chafing. I still actually have scars from that. You can still see 2 spots where it got really bad because it was like scabbed for a while. My hips, my knees, like everything hurt while I was running, and I got to the realization that, like, this isn't fun anymore. I'm not enjoying it. If I've gone beyond challenging myself to do something different, and I'm just torturing myself now. Now, not a great thing to realize on my last training run, but as crazy as it is, I still thought I could do it, because I thought, okay, the problem was I sat down. If I don't sit down on the marathon, I can do it. Now, the problem is my fastest running is kind of like the slowest pace for a marathon. So if I had 10 hours, I could have done it, because I would have just crawled at the end if I needed to. But on the marathon day, and I was feeling good. I started feeling great. It was a cooler day, which really helps me because I overheat easily. My husband's very he's skinny, and I'm not, and so he never understands why I'm always hot and he's always cold, and I just say, like, hello, I'm like carrying 100 pounds of blubber. That's my insulation. So naturally, the hotter it is, the harder it is for me to work out. But that is why I was happy. It was a cooler day, and you know what? I was actually doing really great. I'm pretty sure that was my fastest pace, and that I got to 11 miles, and that was the farthest distance that I'd gone without walking. So overall, it was technically still an achievement, but I was the last runner for quite a while. So I had the people on the bikes. One guy kept checking on me, and then so I started talking to him, and then because I was really pushing to go as fast as I possibly could, my lungs were burning, my heart was like pounding out of my chest, and I still wasn't even halfway there. And I was struggling, absolutely. I was like constantly trying, like having to really like self-talk and say like, you can do this, you can, because for a few miles even before that, I was wanting to give up. I was just, again, like, I was doing okay, but I don't know, it was just, my head was not in the game. And then I got to just before mile 11, and one of my calves, my right calf, cramped up, and that was it. I was done. I had already known I was the last runner for a while. The last 2 water stations I went by, they were already like packing everything up before I even got there. And that was it, because I had said that I wasn't, to myself, that I wasn't going to stop until I fully timed out and they kicked me off the course. But I think I needed to stop myself instead of being kicked off, because I needed to take responsibility and I needed to make that choice. If I would have pushed myself, I don't know if I would have somehow given myself a heart attack or stroke, or literally just passed out on the concrete. So I wasn't ready, and I ended up having to accept that. I thought I was okay until Justin picked me up. And then as soon as I saw him, then I started crying, because it was so overwhelming. And that's when it hit me. And I do feel like a failure, because that was my goal. I did not reach it. I'm just congested if I'm not actually crying. And that was a very, very tough pill for me to swallow, because I was determined I was going to do that this year. And it really messed up my head, because then I thought, well, if I can't do this, you kind of take it on. Like, then I think, can I succeed in other things, or am I going to fail at that? Mostly, I'm working on my book. So that really got into my head and messed me up when it came to working on my book, because now I was labeling myself a failure. And even though I know it was still an achievement for me to actually go that distance at that pace, I failed at my end goal. Now, does that mean I don't plan to do it in the future? No, I do. I still have that goal, but I'm not going to necessarily give myself a certain timeline. I'm going to do it when I'm actually physically and mentally ready. But I still want to do it. I don't know why. I don't have to do it, but I want to do it, and I want to get back to enjoying running again, because I did enjoy it, but I just this time I just pushed myself too hard, too fast, and I didn't. But I'm trying to come to terms with the fact that I failed at my goal, but I'm learning to not view myself as a failure. That was something that I did not achieve yet, but I still am working towards that. And everyone missteps. It's like a baby, right? When they're trying to walk, they fall, and then they get up, and then they get up, and they get up, because that's what life is. Life isn't about succeeding the first time. Life is about falling and continuing to get up. You just have to get up one more time than you fall every time. So just because I technically failed on my timeline, that doesn't make me a failure. That doesn't make my life a failure. Now, I'm telling you this, and I'm still processing this myself. It's still something that I am struggling with, but I just wanted to share and be honest and out myself on the fact that I did not reach my goal, but I'm learning to be okay with it, and I'm trying to be okay with it. And I'm just going to keep trying and keep believing that I can achieve things, even if I fail once in a while. And yeah, I think it was something I needed to do, because I can be so stubborn that I needed to like take a step back and realize I need to take care of my body and change the things I've been doing, because forcing myself to do things that I am not ready to do sometimes backfires. So that's what I want to share today. I better wrap this up and get back on the road. Thank you for watching. Once again, this is Stanley Park. I'm not sure if you can actually see it or if it's too bright, but it was a lovely visit, and now I'm going to march back through downtown. And I'm so glad actually I went to Canada Place first, because the walk here from there was so beautiful. It was along the water, and living in the prairies, that's something I don't get to see that often, so I'm glad that I got to enjoy a scenic walk here as well. So anyway, remember, if you fail, it's not the end of the world. We all fail. So just keep on keeping on. Thank you for watching. Have a great night. Bye.